Guys, we just got the biggest update we have seen for Starfield since the game's launch. And I'm talking PS5 update, finally confirmed. Freelanes update, which changes a number of the game's quality of life settings. Not to mention, we also have a new Trackers Alliance series of bounties and the Next Story DLC. So we're going to get into all of that and more in this video. We're actually going to watch through and break down everything from today's developer spotlight from Bethesda. Alright guys, as somebody who has over 1,000 hours in Starfield, I'm super excited to break this down with you guys. So I will be pausing this intermittently as I notice things. I have watched this once prior to making this video, so I kind of know some things I'm already going to point out, but we're going to be in this together moving through. And if you guys notice anything that I miss in the comments, please put those down below so we can check in and make sure we really absorb as much as we can out of this spotlight. So let's get right into this.
Among the stars, humanity can seem insignificant. Our achievements can be dwarfed by the vastness of space itself. But the galaxy
definitely looks like there's some new stuff with the halves. A lot of colors there.
Enjoy the ride.
Obviously, guys, looking at this part, it just goes to show you they have made significant changes to the in-universe traversal with ships. So this is something that we could not do before, which is flight between planets, and it definitely looks like this has been completely overhauled. I know we'll see more of this later in the video, so I won't waste time here. New suits as well. Definitely looks like there's some new weapons. Oh yeah.
The pilot is only as capable as their starship.
New interior halves clearly as well, which is awesome.
As its crew.
New ground vehicle, which I'm always open to more options as far as that goes.
Together,
couple new little mini companions.
Find your place in the galaxy. But beware, others are claiming theirs.
Humans of the settled systems. You have forgotten who you are. We shall remind you. There is no use resisting. Destroy hostile.
They got the crash drive.
Annihilating.
New guns again.
We are the Terran Armada. And none shall stand in our way.
And that's the new story DLC here. So this is cool. So this basically breaks down the three things that we're getting, and one of these is available as you guys are watching this video now. So the Trackers Alliance, there are updates too. If you already have the Trackers Alliance creation, you can now go on and see new bounties that were not currently available. So they added a series of new bounties that you can collect in the Trackers Alliance creation. I think that's great. I don't know exactly what else is brought in with that, if there's any new suits. I know previously there was a couple variations on existing game content that the Trackers Alliance quest brought. So having a few more bounties, maybe there's more than that. I do know it adds some new stories. Seeing the Freelanes update, that is incredible. And there's a lot more that we actually see later in this video than we had just seen already. So obviously the space traversal's already different. And then of course we have the Terran Armada, which is the new story DLC, comes out April 7th as well. And I think that is going to be something that hopefully is exciting to most people. I know it's not what I was anticipating when I first saw this trailer. I was like, Terran Armada, them bringing in like an AI faction, but they're not all AI. There are humans involved. But it's just interesting because that's not the direction I thought they would go. But nonetheless, it could be very interesting. I hope it's executed well. But let's continue breaking down the rest of this video because there's a lot to unpack here, guys.
Starfield's grown so much since launch.
By the way, I personally love the Rev 8. I thought that was a great addition to the game.
Is always expanding. With new, uncharted territory. And that's what we're exploring with you today.
Oh, they got the Chrono Watch there. I got mine in the
When
back.
we release a game, that's the starting point. But we are fully committed to supporting our games after release.
I think when you look back over, the dozen or so updates that we've done up until this point, we did the standalone location story-based DLC in Shattered Space, a lot of quality of life updates.
We added creations, we've added the Rev 8.
We've added a ton since launch.
And I think one thing that's exciting too is a lot of us as players were concerned that they were actually going to be dropping some of the post-launch content and support for the game. So seeing them kind of come in with these series of updates all at once, it's good to know they've been working on quite a bit of things behind the scenes because I know a lot of players had lost faith. So this is, in my opinion, this is a great sign from Bethesda knowing like, hey guys, we're committed to this game. We've been listening to your feedback, and we want to implement that in ways to make this a better experience for people who love the game and people who maybe it wasn't quite right for them originally, but now maybe more so. So I think this is a great, great thing here. The developer deep dive. This is good too.
Fans wonder what's coming next. We've been busy working hard on the next set of content. So we're excited to announce the Freelanes update and the Terran Armada story DLC.
Player feedback really guided how we brought Freelanes to life, and it's the biggest update since launch.
Which is
There's
important.
a lot of good stuff coming.
Yeah, we're adding tons of new POIs, locations discovered.
And new POIs, by the way, that is one of the biggest complaints as it relates to Starfield. So seeing new POIs is a welcome change for anybody. Whether you already love the game or whether you hated the game, new POIs give you reason to explore and check out more of the universe. So new POIs, very welcome addition to the game, and that drops with that Freelanes update. So that is an exciting piece right there alone.
Another vehicle, tons of new spacesuits,
Love new spacesuits.
weapons to find.
Weapons as well.
Fans want, and we know what we want, and so now it's time to deliver on that. So today we're inviting players to strap in and join us.
Keyword
as we play
deliver.
through our favorite features coming to Starfield.
Also, can we just look at this briefly? This setup for engines is incredible, and it takes me to the M class. Like, you had to get mods to get this type of engine setup, and it looks like now with some of the updates to the game, this is going to be kind of a standard that you can get through ship progression without the need for mods. So I think that's also a welcome addition, is maybe some larger and variation as it comes to like the engine components.
Interplanetary exploration is what Freelanes is all about. It brings more to discover, giving players all new experiences mid-flight.
Which I love that.
We're adding that ramps up to speed to light years, and you just zoom between planets.
Look at that.
Really a core fundamental.
Very, very akin to like a No Man's Sky or another space sim game, which I think they mentioned space sims like you've come to expect it. So that is a very welcome change instead of seeing a loading screen for a quote-unquote like a fast travel load screen between planets in system. This is a far better way to do it, in my opinion.
Part of any space sim or space fantasy is being on your ship and flying from location to location.
Let's get out there and do something new today.
If we can travel to these places, what is the player doing? We can get up, we can walk around our ship, you can do anything you could normally do. can come over and talk to my crew members.
Also, take a look at this suit here. This suit, in my opinion, is incredible because it kind of takes away some of the cleanness and uniformity that we see in a lot of the existing game spacesuits, and gives a little bit more variability. Like, yeah, you know what? People are customizing or even producing their own spacesuits to really give themselves a unique look. So having more variability, I'm always a huge proponent to, like, the more options for customization, the better. So seeing more options for spacesuits is great.
Thank you for giving me the chance to work with you.
Also, the gun, if you didn't notice that too.
You can decorate.
Let me just go back here briefly. Look at that gun. That is obviously not an existing gun. And they do talk a little bit more about the guns later, so I won't spend too much time on it, but that is also a reason to be excited about the upcoming changes we're seeing here.
You can decorate.
Yeah, people are gonna love this.
So what just happened there? Was that an interdiction?
Yeah, that's an interdiction alarm.
And look at that stairwell
type of
inside.
encounter that can interrupt
So,
cruise mode. I gotta
new
get back to the
habs.
helm and see what it is.
Think you can win this?
There are non-combat situations. There are kind of scary situations.
And new space POIs is a
Some of them just
welcome
be
improvement
the
as
wreckage
well.
of a ship. I don't know what that is, but let's go check it out.
You know, really looking at the vast breadth of science fiction and space sims and what you can do.
With any luck, the cargo they have on board will make this worth it.
X-Tech. So here's a new thing
With,
too. It's
Freelanes,
intriguing.
We added X-Tech. And it's sort of this mysterious new resource that visually it has similarities to some of the Starborn architecture.
And you can use it to enhance your ships, but also like your weapons as well, right?
Yeah.
You can go out and you can find X-Tech, and you have an opportunity to roll for a chance to get that legendary effect that you always wanted.
So this is awesome because having a great gun, but then being able to essentially get randomly generated effects for that weapon, and then potentially even, you know, rolling an effect you don't like out for another one. That is a great opportunity to get a gun that you like, a named weapon, for example, but not be stuck with, you know, only one different effect that it has, actually upgrade it to having more legendary effects.
I always like explosive. I'm gonna roll until I can pick explosive. So now we have this top tier Grendel that I could have found in the game, but that wasn't enough. So we added 2 new quality tiers above advanced. So we now have a superior weapon quality, and then we added exceptional on top of that. So for those higher level players.
And better rarity too. I love that because, you know, I'm at a point in the game where my current character I think is level 104. So you get to that advance and you can't find stronger weapons. And I play with higher difficulty settings. So having the ability to still get better weapons as I progress is also a welcome change for me. I'm not a huge fan of how they did that in Starfield, where guns are just automatically better when you go from, you know, just a base to calibrated to refined to advanced, superior, and now, you know, exotic or exceptional. I think I would have preferred that it's done through just better augments to your weapons, and that's how you increase like weapon damage and whatnot. But given that they had that system in place, I think this is very fitting that they're not completely changing their system, they're just adding on to it.
There's still more things out there for them to get.
This is a great POI, by the way,
Specific effects
in the
to
existing
really
game.
Customize your weapon from legendary to exotic. Reckless, for example, magazine size is reduced to 1, but damage is increased, so it's great for sniper rifle.
And I love
I mean,
this
there's
too.
a couple that really sort of stand out. Let's take a look at them.
I think that's a great one. That would stack great with Furious also.
That's the ultimate space cowboy.
Yeah, right. Check this out.
And notice too, that guy
I'm a
had
big
some
fan of the
little modifiers to
Kismet.
him.
There's a 25% chance that your next magazine will be tripled, which when you're firing explosive rounds with a high rate of fire can be a lot of fun.
And that modifiers I mentioned, they'll bring that up again here later too.
We did add a fair amount of skins. There's always fun.
Yeah, the Constellation skin was very popular, so we decided to add it to a bunch of different weapons.
Then we have the neon skin, which can appear on a number of weapons.
And we've also added ship modules that enhance your ship's abilities.
Now, this is something I think is very cool. They're going to break it down a little bit more in depth, but having different modules to add that'll further improve, basically like when you have crew, you know, and let's say you have somebody with the piloting skill in your crew, so it improves some of the just general skills while you're flying in space. Having these modules to either improve your payload capacity or shields, I think that's another way that you can really improve upon your ship once you've already hit the maximum in terms of, you know, the best shield relay.
My favorite is probably the evasive stealth drive. When you boost, you'll also become stealthy.
Basically gives you like the Starborn effect, which is cool
What
that you
we
can add it
added
to
was
other
a
ships.
Ship optimization terminal. It allows you to optimize shield systems, weapon systems, engine systems.
Using that X-Tech again.
You didn't put us into a planet, so we must be in the right place.
By the way, I love that engine again. I know I already brought it up, but it looks like right here that this is a like Imperial Star Destroyer or one of the ships from the Clone Wars. It's just incredible. I love how that looks. And the thruster optimization too.
And I think X-Tech allow you to do that in a way that you couldn't really before.
Outposts.
Let's talk about how we improved Outpost for players.
Yeah, we have this great new all-in-one module. Comes fully furnished. You could just plop it down on a shoreline like here.
And I love this too, having an all-in-one module that's already pre-furnished. For people that don't love building and making their own outposts and don't want the time commitment, I think this is a phenomenal way to bridge that gap, to give people the opportunity to invest some time in outposts, but without making it so hard to really feel like you actually have a livable outpost in front of you. I think this is a fantastic thing to add to the game.
From Gagarin, get a great view.
And you can still decorate it any way you want.
You can customize it. You go change everything up if you want.
But one of the more practical things that we added was a shared outpost container. This was a huge request. Like, if you build this at your outpost and you load it up and you build it at another outpost on a distant world, that you have access to that inventory.
Which this is something that the game definitely needed to have. Now, I just wonder if you can craft more than one per outpost. I don't think you can. It's got a 1 per outpost limit, which makes sense given how they explain this. The only caveat I will say is that means none of your other cargo is still like linked storage. So you're still missing a little bit of that, but this is a big improvement for all of the items you want to access at each location. You can, which is nice.
It's all shared between any place you build that container and any outpost anywhere. We added Colony War Hero action figures.
Which this is kind of fun.
Yeah, people are gonna love this.
This reminds me so much of the type of action figure playset that I had when I was a kid.
Same for me.
This function is sort of like the collectible Vault Boys do in Fallout, where you find an action figure and it gives you a passive bonus.
For example, the medic makes sure you can heal quicker.
Yeah, there are sealed and unsealed versions of them too, so there's a way to display them as well.
I think that's kind of cool.
Oh, what's that?
Who's that guy?
That's the pet Milliwhale.
It's like, you know, this peaceful little...
And notice too, you can change its appearance as well, so I wonder if there's different coloring, or you can even decorate it with a little bit of clothes. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but it does look kind of fun and a cute thing to maybe add or have around your player homes.
Alien creature that is a pet.
You know, just cute things to have around, like to brighten your day.
It gets lonely out there in space.
We
I
wanted
like
to be
pets.
able to quickly see where their outposts were, and that's a case where
And this
the
is great,
database
too.
came up.
I mean, there are people who are going to love this because it's a central location for everything.
You can look at what you have there. You can track it right from there.
This is
And go
big
get
quality
more
of
that,
life.
if that's what
Big
I'm looking
quality
for.
of life.
So much easier to find the resources you need throughout the galaxy. It's huge quality of life upgrade.
Oh, for sure. After you have all the artifacts, this mysterious prototype schematic will show up in the lodge. It allows you to build this quantum.
And that's another new
entanglement device,
outfit too.
which now lets you take inventory items through the Unity.
Which I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this, because I know a lot of people, their biggest gripe for not wanting to go through the Unity is, oh, I can't take my ship with me. But this is something where you can take some of those key items that you had discovered, and I think that might be enough to kind of bridge the gap for people. And I also wonder, too, I think you can take credits as well. I'm not 100% on that, but they don't mention it in the video. They do mention other things you can take that are worth credits. But I just wonder, if you can actually just transfer credits when you go through the Unity, then you can always just go right back in and recustomize a ship as soon as you get into a new universe. So it does make it a little bit more player-friendly, like you're not starting from 100% scratch when you jump through. As somebody who's gone through, umpteen times, and on my current playthrough, I'm in I would call it my 11th universe because I've made 10 jumps. It's definitely nice to know that if I do it again, I can take something with me.
When you go into the Unity, it is a sacrifice. But then there's the gameplay reality where I've spent hundreds of hours. I don't want to give up everything. So it's our way of recognizing that players might want to take some favorite items with them, and they can use their quantum essence to do that.
It's literally a loophole to make going through Unity a little less punishing.
Yeah.
One of the things we added was now when you defeat a starborn ship, it awards you quantum essence.
Which is good. It should have always, I think.
You can use that quantum essence to upgrade the capacity of your quantum entanglement device. So I'll go ahead and I'll increase the capacity a little. It explains that the maximum capacity is 200, which is a good size inventory. So there's a number of new weapons that we added. I'm going to keep that.
I take my favorite action figures through. That's what I wanted.
I can take my Astra through. You're always going to need digit
Which those have
decks.
0 weight
Let me
too,
just
so I
grab
have
this
a
real
feeling you
quick.
could add as many as
so
you
I can
have.
take all that stuff through. That process of going through the Unity 10 times and going to all of the temples, that was a big lift. How do we encourage them to really play as Starborn? And it is the ability to upgrade these powers. Once you collect quantum essence, you can upgrade those powers.
So in this, by the way, this looks like a different upgrade than actually going through the Unity repeatedly. But I may be wrong. But if this is a way you can use quantum essence to just upgrade them without having to go through 10 Unity jumps, that would be a huge selling point for so many people. But for somebody like me who has gone through 2 full characters all the way through 10 Unity jumps, it's kind of like, what did I grind so hard for? All I had to do was go kill Starborn to get quantum essence. It's like that's a lot easier to bite off than going through. But again, the game is super grindy in its current state. So this is a way to give you some of those power-ups without punishing you so bad. So if they come in tandem where you can upgrade to power level 10 without having to jump through 10 times, I think that's great for a lot of people. I know for me, I think it's great too if I do a new character, but definitely makes the people who grinded super hard early on kind of be like, man, I wish they would have done that earlier. But it's still a nice thing to have, and if it gives you the choice to do it one way or the other, some people may still choose to do the 10 Unity jumps for the Venator armor, which is the Hunter's armor you get after your 10th Unity jump.
They can increase the regen rate. They can grav dash to close the distance between enemies.
This armor set is cool, by the way.
Crazy power level that I could never achieve before. There's even more to Freelanes that we haven't touched on yet. Anchor Point is a new star station, and it's where we kick off a lot of our new quests.
So this is cool. So the Freelanes update sounds like there are quests that are accessible just through this update alone. It doesn't actually require you to have that new DLC either. So if you don't have the new DLC, it sounds like there's a lot you can still do just through this new update alone, which is great. That's just free content, makes the world feel more fleshed out and lived in. I cannot stand behind that more.
There's a ton to discover here.
New vendors clearly too.
We have a brand new vehicle. It's called the Moon Jumper. It can boost for days. So you can almost fly this thing. And on a low gravity planet like this, get a lot of airtime.
So we do have a new companion.
So
and this is cool.
Model G here, super cute.
Watching him kneecap.
Now, looking too, and this guy says something funny here, but looking here, he's got scavenging points. He's got Outpost Engineering 2, which is great to have at any of your outposts, and then the Starship Engineering 2 as well. Great to take him on board your spacecraft. And the nice thing is he's little and doesn't take up much space. So I think this is a cool little companion to add. And the more companions, in my opinion, the better. So I think this is another great addition to the game. And for some people, this won't really matter to them at all. But for others, I think it's just one more thing to make the game feel alive. And for me personally, that's how I feel about it. So
Somebody, like, as they just have a little tick of health left, just makes me laugh every time. He's not the only crew we added.
So Maria can join up with you and be part of your adventure with you.
I like to think I was part of a group, and I murdered all the other children in the womb.
So you've got new allies, but you've also got more challenging foes. New enemy traits will force you.
By the way, this armor set here and in the previous scene, I know my face is kind of in the road. I'm a huge fan of how that looks. It looks like it's very like combative, well armored. I think that fits into Starfield's universe extremely well.
To rethink how you approach encounters.
So this guy...
So yeah, here's what I meant earlier. The chance to avoid damage and dying puts nearby allies into a rage. So some of these enemies, and you can see this in a few clips back, actually have these different traits that impact how they interact in in a battle. So I think this is something that's kind of cool too, because it just adds another variable to combat, making it a little bit less two-dimensional and a little bit more three-dimensional. If you notice this while you're surveying before actually engaging with enemies, might make stealth potentially a little bit more worth it, or just taking a different approach too. So also creates like targeting a specific enemy ahead of time maybe make more sense, or saving somebody until the last moment makes more sense. So this is cool, and they talk a little bit more on this as well.
Chance to avoid damage, and after he's killed, he puts nearby enemies into a state of rage. This was a way for us to make enemies more challenging. There were some other, I'll say, smaller things that we added. POIs on planet surfaces.
POIs. Keyword, POIs. Guys, that is something that just tickles me hearing this. POIs are one of the biggest complaints about Starfield at launch. And I know that we are now in a position where adding new POIs may actually bring life back to the game. So if they can give more variability, higher chance of seeing different variety of POIs, so it's not just a complete RNG, but it's kind of like logging POIs potentially. I don't know how their algorithm runs it, or if it's based on planet type, but if there's a way for them to just give you a little bit more of that variability so things continually feel fresh and new, I think that's another big win. This one looks awesome, by the way. An underground kind of cave that was set up as some kind of outpost. Looks like a research outpost of some kind. Stuff like this is just incredible. So seeing more of this stuff is what I want to see out of the game. Cool
We
POIs.
Photo mode vehicle poses for the Rev 8.
And lots more stuff, including your new home away from home.
This is incredible. It seems simple, but this is incredibly exciting.
Players had
I agree.
millions of credits. What is there for them to buy?
The most extravagant thing in the game.
It's a mansion carved out of an asteroid. How cool.
And notice too, what I love about this as well is the ship docks to this. So it feels to me like it's almost a little bit of your own like star station to a degree. So this is cool. I really wish they would expand on space stations a little bit more, but I feel like this is a step in the right direction, especially right now. I mean, they're giving us a lot of the things we want, and for me personally, I know I'm going to be picking this up. So this is cool.
What was that?
The Terran Armada poses a grave threat to us all.
Now, the Terran Armada, this is the new story DLC, which is a paid DLC, so you have to pay to get this and any of the content that comes with it. So keep in mind, even if you owned the initial, like, deluxe edition of the game, you don't get this DLC unless you pay for it exclusively. And I do know Bethesda did post, Starfield has a new post on their Facebook, Bethesda put this online as well, that you can do a premium edition upgrade from your version of the game, so whatever version you currently have, to get some new content as well as the DLC. So I think there's like a skin pack as well and some other stuff. So if you haven't bought a higher edition of the game but want to get this DLC, you can buy that premium edition upgrade and then get this DLC with it, along with I think about 1,000 Creation Club credits and whatnot too. So might be worth looking into. I know for me personally, I think I'll probably just buy this DLC and not buy an upgrade because I already bought the deluxe edition when the game came out. I actually have the collector's edition, but that was for Xbox, and then I bought the deluxe digital edition for Steam. But the Steam collector's editions were all sold out, which is why I started with Xbox. And anyways, that's my story.
In this
Terran
DLC,
Armada.
you'll face the Terrans, an advanced militant force with their own vision for the settled systems.
So the Terran Armada is a faction that left the settled systems during the Colony War.
The Terrans don't seem to be known for their survivors.
It is our sworn duty to uncover their plans and put a stop to it.
They had issues with both the United Colonies and the Freestar Collective. They consider themselves to be the true children of Earth.
The DLC is going to challenge players to rise up against a full-on armada.
One thing I do like about this is it's very much like sci-fi and brings me back to like my Star Wars Clone Wars roots, because it feels like, hey, we're up against the CI here. Is that the actual name of the faction in Star Wars? I can't recall what the droids are. But the droid faction in the Clone Wars, this is like very reminiscent of that. So being up against various AI droids, essentially, I think that's kind of cool. It's a callback to the Star Wars universe. I think it's a callback to other, sci-fi media as well. But it's something that is new and unique to Starfield now as well. So definitely cool. I'm excited to see what this DLC looks like, but I hope it's not just like we're going to prep for war and that's it. It would be nice to see them try and incorporate some of the espionage from like the Region quest line and some other quest lines that had some unique parts that only got used very briefly. It'd be nice if there's a big, you can check off all the boxes for all these different types of players who get something out of this DLC.
And part of your mission is to figure out what their motivation is and to stop them from attacking innocent worlds. They have
That's an angry
these
robot.
mechanized troops, which are a force to reckon with. But not all Terran bots are trying to kill you.
Yeah, so we do have a new companion. His name is Delta, and he is one of the Terran robots. He's not evil, but he is definitely not good.
Designation, friend, not accepted.
And they've got some ships that are really high-powered, incredible pieces of technology.
They've taken the Nova Galactic ships and have added new modules. We went for...
And the new modules, I think that's too where we're seeing some of those new interiors are coming from getting the modules from the Terran Armada. So that's where they're able to add some of this in without it being like, oh, it's always been here and now you just get it. It's like, no, there's actually a lore reason on where some of these new modules are coming from. And I think that's justified too. So
NASA Tactical, and they have their own weapons. We had got feedback from the community where it's like, oh, I wish we had more contemporary like machine guns, less sci-fi, more grounded. And that's what the Terrans are equipped with. And then these guns are highly modifiable, both ballistic and energy weapons. It's pretty terrifying when you're exploring the Terran ships in the dark. The vibe is kind of like a dimly lit, U-boat type of atmosphere. And then you hear a little alert going off, and you realize it's one of the robot pods opening up, and these robots will jump out, and they're deadly.
I think it could be really
Within
cool.
the Terran Armada storyline, there's also the Incursion system.
There's a number of different objectives
That was another
you
cool
could
suit.
have on any given incursion. Some move the story forward.
Exit immediate.
So, and this feels very much, as you listen to this, guys, if any of you got the Watchtower DLC, or DLC, creation, that was basically a creation that was DLC sized. And some of these incursions, I feel like they drew a lot of inspiration from some of the quests as it related to Watchtower. And I think that's a good thing, because it's definitely, Watchtower was a great addition to the game, and I think this could be very much in line with some of the content from Watchtower. So seeing these different objectives that can either move the story forward, or you can just do them, as you would like, and continually do some, even if it's not necessary to move the actual quest story forward. I think that gives players a lot of options, because they did that with the Watchtower creation as well.
Or risk fatal harm.
And some are out there just for the spoils of war, more X-Tech.
The Terrans even...
And X-Tech too it looks like X-Tech is going to be a very significant, essentially, currency. Not in like the monetary sense, but in the, you want to level up your abilities, powers, and in this example, your space ship's abilities. I think that that's a cool way to kind of encourage engagement in this quest.
Have the tech to block grav jumping within a system.
Now that is one thing I kind of have mixed feelings on, is they're able to block grav jumping in and out of the system or out of the system. That could be a big hindrance in certain cases. So, like for me personally, the biggest downfall to installing Watchtower was I had to clear system after system from Watchtower's presence just to not get attacked every time I entered the system. And there are settings where you can change the frequency of attacks, but I like to play on like slightly higher difficulties, which means more and more and more attacks. And you can change that scale for the Watchtower ambushes, but I'm hoping that there are some ways maybe around this for people who want a little bit more of a leisurely gameplay style in their Starfield, but they want to get this DLC, but they don't want it to penalize them too heavily. So that's where I think this is a potentially great way to give players flexibility on like how much do you want this to impact your everyday gameplay sessions. Get the DLC, but don't make it punish players. So I'm curious to see what they do as far as that system goes.
They've set up jamming sites called Incursions, but with cruise mode, you can navigate to those sites and shut them down.
There's just so much game here when we look at the full breadth of all the new content.
We're excited for everyone to dive into Freelanes and Terran Armada in April, but we wanted you to have something to play right now. So today, we're rolling out fresh Trackers Alliance content. We're adding 5 new targets, all with unique storylines. If you already purchased Trackers Alliance, this content is already included for you.
And that right there is a big piece of, I would say, goodwill with Bethesda. I'm really happy that they're taking this opportunity to encourage players to get back into the game. Here's some free stuff for you that can hold you over until the official updates drop April 7th. I think that's a great thing from Bethesda to try and get players back engaged with the game again, give it another shot. Here's some new content if you already had this creation. And it's still tied to that creation, but so many players got it because they already had enough Creation Club credits from the addition of the game that they bought, that this is a great way to just kind of say, hey, we want to reward you for being players of the game. Here's what we're going to do to just kind of show you that.
And the complete Trackers Alliance series is available now in the Creations menu. I think we're just excited as fans of Starfield to get this into our players' hands. We've had a blast with it, and we want to, share it with the world.
Before we sign off, we've got one final announcement. When Freelanes and Terran Armada launch on April 7th, Starfield will officially arrive on PlayStation 5.
Which is also a great thing, I think, for Starfield as a game. Especially with the new content. I think it's finally at a place where PlayStation 5 players will have a lot of content to dive into, and it should be enjoyable for them.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. There'll be more to come, but till then, we'll see you out there among the stars.
And there we go. We're back. So guys, I think this is truly a great era that we're about to see for Starfield. And PS5. So this is where they talk a little bit about that premium edition. And I did see they posted, that you can do a premium edition upgrade, which gives you the story DLC for the Terran Armada. I know this screen here is more so for people who don't currently own the game, or PlayStation 5 players particularly, because then they get both the initial DLC in Shattered Space, they get the Terran Armada DLC, and then they also get that 1,000 creation credits, and then some digital extras too with that art book and soundtrack, and then of course the Constellation skin pack too. So I think this is going to be a good future for Starfield. I think that they're doing the right things at Bethesda now with the game, and I think that this Freelanes update containing so much, I would say, raw content with that new space station, with quest lines, the different way to traverse the universe, adding those POIs, all that dropping on April 7th, and that's separate from the Terran Armada story DLC. It just seems to me like that's going to be something that'll put Starfield potentially back up on the map is a real contender for the RPG space. So I'm excited to see what all that really entails once I have time to dive in. I will be making some videos on that, a lot of shorts with just small updates, and kind of going through some of the new gameplay items, POIs, outposts. So if you guys want to stick around and see that kind of content, definitely subscribe to the channel, leave this video a like. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. I know you must be very passionate about Starfield and this new IP created by Bethesda. So if you're just like me, because you must love sci-fi and you love space exploration, and maybe you're just a Bethesda fan too, all those things can exist simultaneously and can be true. But thanks again, guys, for sticking around, and I'm excited for this. And like I said, if there's anything you guys caught that I missed, let me know in the comments below. I know there's a lot to unpack here, and some things that were minor I didn't really point out or pause because I didn't want this video to be 55 minutes long. But definitely let me know. I would love to read in the comments if there's anything you noticed that I missed. And until next time, guys, well met, travelers.